This episode is about looking at mistakes, failure, and regret without carrying it with you. And thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode. Therapy has helped me pull myself out of painful experiences in order to move forward, and I found BetterHelp to be the most immediate and accessible therapy platform. BetterHelp is online therapy that eliminates the time-consuming, pain-in-the-neck search for a therapist. With BetterHelp, you don't need a referral. The BetterHelp sign-up process simply asks you questions, straightforward questions that you answer online. Within 24 to 48 hours in most cases, BetterHelp connects you to a licensed therapist appropriate to your needs. Therapy has certainly helped me get unstuck. BetterHelp is a very simple, comfortable, and convenient place for therapy. You can do your sessions through messaging, voice, or video. Change your therapist if you want. Use this link for 10% off your first month of therapy, and the link is in the description. Thank you, BetterHelp. Rewind. Let's see. Rewind.
Yeah!
See?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Damn, did we have fun. In the summer of 2010, I packed my things from 368 Broadway and moved to Los Angeles, ending a 10-year collaboration that culminated in an HBO series.
Short stories about the lives of two filmmakers. The season premiere of the HBO late night series, The Neistat Brothers. Next on HBO.
And when I go through the archive footage now, I'm reminded of mistakes, failure, and regret. Mistakes I made that led us to the failure to get a second season of the HBO series, among other things, and the regret that led to the acceptance that led to the wisdom about my role in the failure. I think in the end, the breakup was mostly my fault. Mistakes. A mistake is an error made out of immaturity, ignorance, or carelessness. The chief mistake I made that led to the breakup was one of arrogance. I thought the success of getting a series on HBO was due to my creative efforts, that if I concentrated solely on the work or on the artistic side of the work, then I was absolved from concentrating on the business side of the work.
And look at this thing. So cool. I stole this design from Vivian Kubrick.
This was a mistake. I later learned that half the job of the artist is to make the work, and the other half is to get the work out into the world. Probably why artists pay art galleries half the money from the sale of the art. I treated Casey like my agent or my art dealer. I was the creative genius, and he was to sell my wares. This is a production meeting for a project to help finance the studio, but am I participating in the meeting? No, I'm filming it. Whereas Casey was always on the hustle, on the phone, taking meetings, developing and executing plans, I was inclined to smoke pot all day, immerse myself into this project or that, and disappear into my own little world. And maybe you can get away with forsaking the world for your work if you're an apex predator, rock star, genius artist, but that ain't me.
I got an emergency email from Casey about a meeting that went down in Los Angeles on Friday, which is not only 3 days ago, it's also 3 hours ago. You know, we have an extra 3 hours because they're on the West Coast. So he's just sending me this. And he tells the big story, and this is the big story, okay?
So what ended up happening was that by ignoring the business and concentrating solely on my art projects, I not only turned my agency in shaping the business over to Casey and our executive producer, I had, through my own arrogance, reduced my role in the partnership to that of basically an employee. And when I realized what I had done, that I had become an employee and not a partner, I blamed Casey and our executive producer, Tom Scott, the guy who financed the whole HBO show to begin with, and I resented them for years. But it was my fault. It was my fault that I had become an employee and sort of dissolved my role in the partnership. I just drugged myself into a false reality where I was king. In all the old studio footage, when I'm wearing sunglasses inside, it means I was stoned, and there's hours of sunglasses footage from those days. Failure.
Here I am again, HBO, trying to sell season 2. Trying to pitch season 2. Pitching season 2. Trying to get season 2. Not quite as exciting as the last time we left the building.
Could have been much worse.
Could have been much worse. Nobody knows whether we're getting season 2. This is when I found out that our network is not buying a season 2 of our show.
Failure is either running out of time or quitting before you're successful. And in a way, failure is the good news. Failure is education, and failure is part of the process of achieving success. What allowed me to pack up and leave the studio and leave New York was us failing to get season 2 of the Neistat Brothers HBO series. When you're trying to earn a living from your creativity, it's mostly failure. It took hundreds of micro failures to get the show in the first place. In the pursuit of a meaningful goal, we experience entire phases of failure cycles. In The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell calls it the road of trials. You know, failure. Edison striking out over and over and over again, trying to figure out what the hell to make the light bulb filament out of. Thousands of different materials until tungsten. Failure means that you just haven't earned it yet, baby. You must suffer and cry for a longer time. Regret. For a while, maybe until last Monday, when I looked back on my life from about 2001 to 2012, I've regretted not getting sober at a younger age. I thought, man, I should have gotten sober in October 2001. September 2001, living in Manhattan, traumatized. Okay, I drank. But I look back and think about the trail of destruction my drinking and drugging left in its wake for another 11 years until I got sober and entered the program. And so much of my ability to think truthfully about the world and so much of my maturity in becoming a man, I credit to the lessons I've learned and the support I've received from my 12-step program. Now, regret, if carried too long, can become a self-inflicted tragedy. Regret can destroy your life if you don't get past it. For a while, I looked back thinking, man, I could have saved myself and the world a lot of trouble had I gotten sober at 26 instead of at 37. You know, my relationships with people, my relationship to the world, I guess. So in putting this episode together, I called a college friend who's known me and Casey through all of this. She was there during that September 11th, 2001 era.
Come on. Come on.
There's a phase in the hero's journey called meeting with the goddess. It occurs after the hero has done all of the difficult stuff, after he's slayed the dragons or blown up the Death Star or what have you, after his road of trials. The goddess unites the good and the bad. The meeting with the goddess articulates and illuminates the wisdom that the hero has acquired on his adventure. In a 3-hour conversation, Nina helped me understand that I didn't actually regret not getting sober in 2001. I don't carry it with me and let it destroy my future. No, my regret is more of a thought exercise that occasionally floats in and out of my consciousness. It's probably not actually regret. It's more like, imagine what would have happened or could have happened had I gotten sober in October 2001 instead of September 2012. But I had to go through it all to understand the significance of going through it all.
Van Neistat, ladies and gentlemen.
The Neistat Brothers breakup forced me to grow up. The truth is, I always wanted my own kingdom and not a partnership with my work, I mean. My heading off to Los Angeles was the beginning of another hero's journey, and on that hero's journey, I got sober and began another hero's journey. Where all of us, each one of us, were on some kind of hero's journey. And tragically, some of us get stuck at the call to adventure, make the mistake of refusing the call to adventure, fail to see our adventure through, and regret not having taken the adventure or not having completed the adventure. Others, some of us who are blessed, repeat the hero's journey cycle again and again and gain the wisdom that comes with each adventure. Maybe it's because I'm a storyteller that I sometimes experience life's events through the lens of the hero's journey, usually when I find myself on the road of trials, grinding it out. But maybe my meeting with the goddess, my meeting with Nina, hints that I might be about to reach the end of one cycle and on the verge of beginning a new one. I had to go through it all to understand the significance of going through it all. This week on the Patreon, a conversation with one of my peers. The link is right there.